Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over downloading and using Kali Linux as a virtual machine on our systems. There's two different hypervisors that we will be covering in this video. The first one is VirtualBox and the second one is VMware. There's pros and cons to using both. There's actually a huge debate out there in the industry right now of VirtualBox versus VMware, which is better to start out with. Uh, Personally, I'm a fan of VMware. In my opinion, it's cleaner, it's easier to use. Um, I personally just like using it, but that's because I started out with VMware. VirtualBox does have its pros too. A lot of people like the layout of VirtualBox better than VMware. It's all a matter of preference. The biggest difference between the two is VirtualBox is completely free to use, and VMware does cost money on a subscription basis. And I will say it's a lot of money to actually use. If you can get your hands on VMware for free, I would recommend trying that out. If you can't, it's not worth the money. I would wait until a company pays for it for you or you get a free distribution of it. I know through GCU, we actually get a free year subscription to VMware if you are currently enrolled in a class that uses VMs. So VirtualBox, like I said, it's free to use. And so if you want to go ahead and download it, go to virtualbox.org and you should see a screen like this. If you don't, just go ahead and click the download tab and you'll be taken here. And you have multiple options for download. I'm on a Windows machine right now, so I'm going to go ahead and click Windows Host, and you should be given an executable file to actually start the install. I already have it installed on my machine, so I'm not going to go ahead and go through that process, but it's a simple install wizard. Just click Next and agree to anything that asks you to agree to. Um, it's nothing intrusive. It's just agreeing to their terms and services, and it will install on your machine. Now we're going on to VMware. Head over to VMware.com. You should see a screen like this. What I want you guys to do is go ahead and click Products, and let's start with Workstation Pro. Workstation Pro is what we're given a free key for with GCU's key policy, where they actually give you a free key if you're in a class with virtual machines being used. And yeah, if you're on a Windows computer, Workstation Pro is what you will be using. What you want to do is go ahead down here and click Try Workstation 17 Pro, download the trial, and you should be given, I think it's a 30-day free trial of it. But through there, you can actually put in your product key that you're given through GCU or your company, and you'll be given your subscription. So head over to Kali.org. This is the Linux distribution we will be downloading today. Kali Linux is a distribution of Debian Linux where it's kind of specified around offensive security, and it just comes with a lot of pre-installed tools for offensive security skills and techniques that you will be using as you start to learn offensive security. I recommend, if you're starting out with cybersecurity, I would recommend starting with this Linux or Parrot OS. Parrot OS is more defensive based cybersecurity, but it is another really good cyber distribution of Linux. Today, we're just going to be talking about Kali. So go ahead. Once you navigate to Kali.org, you should see this screen right here. Go ahead and click on that download button, and you'll be taken to this screen. There's a bunch of different types of Kali you can download. The classic ones are ISO images or virtual machines. ISO image is essentially just the install image that you can set up your machine off of. I don't recommend using this unless you really want to go through that whole process. Just because you have to configure everything and go through the whole process of setting up your virtual machine and your operating system. The virtual machine option over here, it's already configured and set up virtual machine. You don't have to really do anything yourself. It's more of a drag and drop. It's the quickest and easiest way to set up a Kali machine through VirtualBox or VMware. So we're going to go ahead and click that for today, and you'll be taken down here. You have three different options. QEMU is, honestly, I don't even know how to pronounce that. QEMU I've never really used that. I've never worked with it. But today we're going to be using VMware and VirtualBox. So if you have VMware, go ahead and click on that download. If you have VirtualBox, click on that download right there. And it should start downloading the zipped file of your virtual machine. That being said, it will be a bigger download. It's about 2.5 gigs. So it may take a little bit depending on your internet. All right, so I already downloaded these, and so I just went into my downloads folder. You can choose where to download them and extract them to. It's all up to you. So when you get the actual download straight off of Kali's website, it will come in a 7-zip archive. Um, if you're on Mac, you can easily unzip these with built-in Mac tools. If you're on a Windows machine, you will have to download a specified tool. All right, if you're on a Windows machine, go ahead and use this tool called 7-zip. You could find it on 7zip.org. This is the where I'm showing you guys. Once you get there, you should see this home page. Go to the downloads page, and you should see a list of a bunch of different options for downloading. I would say choose the one that better fits your system. Personally, I'm on a 7 or 64-bit Windows operating system, so I'll go ahead and click that. It should give you a download executable, and you could save it and run the setup wizard. It's like 2 clicks, and it should take all of 3 seconds, depending on your system, and it's an easy install. So let's actually go back to our zipped files, and you should see VMware and VirtualBox. What you want to do is right click, go to 7-zip, and extract files. When you extract the files, it should give you a bunch of options here. It's not going to be password protected, and you don't really have to do anything unless you want to specify where you're extracting it to. I'm just going to extract it into my downloads folder. So I'll hit OK, and it will do this whole extracting process. I'm going to click cancel here. No to all. I'm going to hit cancel just because I already have it extracted. And do the same thing with your VirtualBox if you do have VirtualBox downloaded as opposed to VMware. As you can see here, I've already gone through this whole setup. So I have my Kali machine and my VirtualBox machine. So next we're actually going to go over implementing these into the hypervisors that we just went over. All right, so now we're going to go over implementing your newly downloaded Kali into VirtualBox first. So opening up VirtualBox, you should see a screen sort of like this. You have a Tools tab, and under that Tools tab, you're given a couple options: Preferences, Import, Export, New, and Add. We're going to be using the Add function today, so it should open up a file manager. In this file manager, navigate to wherever you downloaded or extracted those zip archives to. In my case, it's in my download folder. So go to VirtualBox, click on it again, and you should see a VirtualBox machine definition. This is a file with the Kali already loaded on here, already configured. So all we need to do is double click that, and it will actually import it into your VirtualBox. Like I said, it's already configured. Kali, it's the newest version of it, 2022.4. It gives you your default credentials, Kali, and let's go ahead and start it up to see if it worked. All right, that's a good sign. And there we go. This is Kali Linux. This is the boot screen. It takes a second to load up. You have to let it boot up for a second, and sure enough, there we go. This is our login screen. And like we saw below here, let me move this over. Kali is our default credentials. So we're going to type that in. And voila, we are logged into Kali. You now have a VirtualBox VM of Kali Linux, and it is the most up-to-date version. And yeah, you can now start using Linux and learning command line, learning different offensive tools. and this is the space to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick and show you guys one tool that's going to help a lot. So click on these three lines next to your new machine and go to snapshots. So snapshots are essentially a save of the current state that your machine is in. It's saving the configuration of how everything is at this current time, and it's essentially a revert save. If you go ahead and mess up your machine, let's say you do the command rmrf and you delete everything on your machine, it's no longer usable. It's completely bricked. You can't use it. Now, if you took a snapshot when you first created the machine with this button, you can then go and restore it. You can restore from that specific save, and your machine will be back to the way it was at that time of taking it. This is just a really helpful way of preserving your machine in case something did happen. And I will say it will happen eventually. I've gone through like 6 or 7 machines, my Kali machines myself, because over time you will do stupid things, whether it's just a random command that will delete everything. You could install something that ruins your machine. It could be a number of things. And so creating a snapshot will just save a lot of time and space on your machine, rather than installing a brand new version of Kali and then importing it again. It's just a one-click thing where you can revert to a save. So I really recommend taking a snapshot of your machine once you have it downloaded. All right, now we're going to actually go over to VMware and show that same process, but through VMware. All right, so this is VMware. I have Workstation Pro 16. 17 will probably look a tiny bit different, but should be the same process of configuring. So when you go to your home tab right here, you should be given 3 options: create a new one, open a new virtual machine, or connect to a remote server. So the one we're going to be using today is open a new virtual machine, because we already have the virtual machine configured and downloaded. So it's essentially just a drag and drop, just like we did with VirtualBox. So go ahead and click that. You should see a file system open. Find wherever you extracted that 7-zip archive to. In my case, again, it's in downloads. Double click into it and you should see a VMware virtual machine configuration file. This is your actual virtual machine. This is it in its current state, configured, set up. Everything's already configured for you. So you can double click that, and sure enough, it will open it for you. That was actually a version of Kali that I've used before, and so it just opened right up to my old one. But it should open up a new Kali, and it will look kind of like this. And what you want to do is go ahead and click power on this virtual machine, and it will boot and open for you. Same process of booting as we did on VirtualBox. Everything's already configured for you. You don't have to do really any of the heavy lifting. It's a simple drag and drop installation. Like I said, this is a Kali machine that I currently use, so it might be going a little slower because I do have a lot of stuff on it. Yeah, there we go. Kali's booting, and we should see the login screen. So default credentials again are Kali. And there you go. You're now in your Kali machine, and you have a new up-to-date version of Kali Linux. Yeah, I hope you guys have fun messing around with Kali. Just learning command line and how to navigate the tree system, the file system, because using Linux is one of the best tools you can have under your belt going into the cyber industry. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, and enjoy your new Linux distribution.